In the case of the world of religion, I usually don't use the word religion, but I use the word religion now, to designate something easy for us. We have been listening to so many varieties of opinions. We have been listening to the traditions, the so-called traditional teachers. I call so-called because there is not much of a traditional system that's going on. I don't say out of arrogance or ignorance. I'm saying that as a matter of fact. And sometimes when I say things as a matter of fact, it disturbs everyone. You know what I mean? But please don't be disturbed, because the whole idea is to spiritually liberate ourselves. So even the word spiritualism, as I always say, it's confusing because spirit in English means anything like a ghost. You see a ghost, you saw a spirit, or you drink a bottle of wine, and that is also spirit. And if somebody is misbehaving, he is high-spirited. So even spirit, is actually not defined in the English language. So why I'm saying English language is that every one of us here speaks English. Our information source comes from English reading most of the time. Even if we are talking about German ideologies, we are reading through English, and then we are talking through English. So then there is this second-hand and third-hand interpretation of concepts and doctrines. And from this second-hand and third-hand doctrines, and also, unfortunately, the last even 80 to 50 years, there was so much, how would I say, intellectual uprising, revolution. People were revolting against religion, people were revolting against, culture, I'm not talking about Eastern culture, Western culture, but within our own society. What is the role of a woman? What is the role of a man? All these were questioned. Because of all this questioning, and we have so much information that is coming from all around us with no accuracy, and so we are kind of, when we are talking about even, say in India, the spiritual culture, we are actually talking about something that we learned of the English writings. I'm not angry with the English. I honestly am not angry with the English. I am saying that, in the colonial times, our communication was poor because nobody understood. Really, many of the scholars who claim to be experts in Sanskrit were relying on pandits. Pandits were not experts in English. You understand? I know firsthand many pandits in India, all over India. They don't know English. They know a little bit of English. If they knew English, they become computer experts anyway, so they move. So we don't have English-speaking pandits, and pandits who are so learned in Sanskrit don't have the time to speak English. And it's not so easy. So the transaction was poor between the pandits and the colonial times, the scholars of the colonial times. The colonial scholars, of course, they say they are the best Sanskritists in the universe. If you take any book, Max Muller is the Bruce Lee of philology, and Bruce Lee of this and Bruce Lee of that. That's simple thing. Philology is a very simple thing. When you're speaking to me from Andhra and I speak Tamil, I can see there is slight variance. If I go and inspect further, I know there is a little bit of differences in the grammar and the usage of words and grammar. So this is not, it has got a big word like philology, but philology doesn't mean much to me. It is useful in a certain history. But again, when you come to India, Itihasa is the history of Krishna. Bhagavan Krishna has a different history. Itihasa means the history of divinities. So, but we are still confusing ourselves with our history, Even our so-called gurus, when they talk about history, they are talking absolutely from an English reading of these ideas rather than their own ideas. The problem is in the differentiating what is the true Indian philosophy, Indian, here I'm using the word Indian for, Indic philosophies, like Veda, Tantra, Agama, all this kind of stuff. And the relevance to a person now, here. So when we are talking here, I am speaking for a spiritual tradition, and this spiritual tradition is similar all over the world. It's analogous. When I say the Veda, I mean the Christian Bible, Testament, the commentaries. Similarly, the Islamic commentaries, everything. Sometimes, because of the Western influence, some of these people might be opposed to me and say, like, no, Islam is separate, or Christianity is separate, or Sikhism is separate. No, when you really study, when you really go into it, spiritualism is the same. God, everyone says God is one. If God is one, then it is the same path. So it's a little bit different, oriented differently. The rappers are different. So when I'm talking about all these things, please bear in mind that our aim is not to disparage. Our aim is to become a spiritualist.